everybody. This is Stephanie Bennett. I'm back with you here in the secret place. So happy to be speaking with you again. Today, I have a short reading from the Desert Mothers. I've read to you before from the Desert Fathers and Mothers and talked about the Desert Fathers, but we haven't spent as much time on the Desert Mothers. Spiritual practices from the women of the wilderness. Well, this part talks about the role of silence in the process of discernment. Let me read it to you right here, and then we'll talk about it. When we practice being still and silent, something begins to happen. We hear all of our inner chatter, and after a while, we also hear the subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, nudging of the Holy Spirit. Discernment is made possible and supported by regular times of silence. As one author has said, silence is a way of waiting, a way of watching, and a way of listening to what is going on within and around us. It's a way of interiority, of stopping and then of exploring the cellars of the heart and the center of life. Just as it would be difficult to read this text if there were no spaces between the words, so living without taking time for silence makes our life a jumbled and garbled text. When we have no time for quiet reflection, we truly miss our lives. Let that sink in. We truly miss our lives. Do you ever feel like your life is a garbled mess where the sentences are all running together, the events, the experiences, the days, and it's hard to make sense? I do sometimes. Thankfully, I don't experience that a whole lot, but I do experience, and I have experienced that in the past throughout my whole life from time to time. And it's always an indicator for me that I need to get back to that place where I can center and my core is at rest. And silence as a practice helps me with that. We've talked before also about stillness and about solitude. All of these are wonderful practices. It's just hard to kind of get started somehow, especially if you're an extrovert. But I've noticed even with introverts, it's difficult to get started because the practice of silence is not what it appears to be, like, just being away from people and having a little space. No, it does, as this reading from the Desert Mothers talked about today, it does kind of create this space in our interior that can be a little bit scary, a little bit formidable, if you can be a little formidable. Kind of oxymoronic there. But I just want to say today, as we go forward and deeper into the year here, that the coming year, there's always a chance for a new start. You and I might feel, I know all different kinds of people are listening to The Secret Place. And you might be one that feels that you have had more silence and more quiet than you want. You've been either in quarantine or in isolation or keeping away from people, and you can't even hear this word. If that's you, I want to assure you that moving into the practice of silence, even if it's for a few minutes a day, is different than, and will give you a different sense and a different feeling and a different experience from just being by yourself, being alone, and being quiet, being away from people. There's something rich in the kind of silence that I'm talking about, and I want to give you one way to start it. If you're that person that feels, back off, you've maybe already turned off this 5-minute video, I want to say this. Start not a new activity of silence or a new practice of silence. Take something that you already do. You drive to the store, or you go for a walk, or perhaps you go for a run, or you do exercise in your house, something that you already do. You're cooking. Turn off the music, turn off the TV, get rid of the news feed. Just take time during that activity, even if it's only for 2 or 3 minutes in the car, and just be in silence. Focus on the road if you're driving, of course, but see what happens over the course of a week if you just take your driving time. If that's the time when you can be by yourself. If you have small ones in the car, or you're sharing a car with someone, you'll have to find another activity that you do where you can just remove the noise and just intentionally be silent. Even then, I believe that we can find richness and release and renewal in silence. I believe it's a gift of God. Now, over the course of this last year, and with the mini-series I did called In the Quiet, we've spoken quite a bit on The Secret Place about silence, the practice of silence, and contemplative prayer, and Lectio Divina, etc., etc. But I'm not tired of talking about it because I really think it is one of the, it's not easy, but it's one of the most basic gifts of God. And we might not think about it as a gift from God. I mean, sometimes we don't think of our breath as a gift from God because it's so natural. It's there all the time. We don't think of our words or our voice as a gift from God because we started speaking when we were whatever, 1 or 2 or 3, and we've just been going from there. But it's a gift. To speak is a gift. And silence is a gift. And if you have not tapped into the gift, or let's just say unwrapped the gift of silence, I want to challenge you before the end of this year to just start to find that gift and unwrap it. Again, start with a few minutes of activity that you're already doing that you can just remove the noise. How about that? Remove the noise and see what you find. I'm happy that you've come with me today to listen to The Secret Place. Always happy when you join me. Please leave a comment if you'd like. And we'll get more into the Desert Mothers and the Desert Fathers, I think, into the coming year. For now, that's all. I wish you a very, very good day. God's blessings. Thanks for coming. Bye.